Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Train Sim World video. And I thought I'd take a look back at a classic, the Edinburgh to Glasgow line via Falkirk High using the Sprinter timetable. And the reason for doing this more is for the class 385, which is the train that we'll be driving today, because this is one of the first trains to include announcements. However, the announcements are not part of the, like on Riviera line, they're actually on here. So if we go to make announcement.
Welcome to the Scotrail service to Glasgow Queen Street.
And there you go. So we've got the announcement there. We are on the 4-car. This is the 7:30 service from Edinburgh to Glasgow, a morning commuter service. Calling at Falkirk High, Lindsay, Bishopbriggs, Glasgow, Queen Street. And this train should take about 52 minutes. We closed our passenger doors now. We're going to actually use this door controls, because this is one of the things I do like about this train set. You can actually use... Nope, I tell a lie. You can't use these door controls. But I need to close my cab door anyway. So we'll close the main doors as well. And we'll wait for the interlock light to come out. We'll turn off our cab light and we'll get going. Alright, let's drive, set to forward. And now I have a sound mod on this because the sounds on the default are just not the best. So I've got sound mod on here, which makes the sounds sound a lot better in my opinion. So we're going to make an announcement now.
This train is for Glasgow Queen Street.
Oh, we're going really fast because I'm making the announcements, because it won't let me do it from here. So we can do brake check because it's snowing as well. And yeah, the sounds are way better compared to the default.
The next station is Haymarket.
Next station is Haymarket. So this is why I say I wanted to check out how things have aged. And if I'm honest, they've aged pretty well. The lighting is pretty extreme because we are in the winter scene and it's snowing. We'll go outside to the Princess Street Gardens and you can barely see the train, but you can see the castle lit up beautifully. Rather uniquely about the Edinburgh to Glasgow services, especially this one via Falkirk High, is that you have commuters running in both directions, both in the mornings and the evenings. Due to the fact that it only takes about an hour between the two, so it's quite ideal for people who are going between the two cities and while working as well. So we're approaching the Haymarket tunnels, and we should be able to go up to the line speed of 35 miles an hour. And it looks like we got some wheel spin up here. We'll just ease it off as we approach 35 miles an hour. And it looks like we're going into platform number 2 today instead of into platform 4, which is where this train would normally, or these commuter trains would normally come in. But that's probably as a result of the Sprinter timetable, which has added a lot more diversity to the AI traffic.
We'll soon arrive at Haymarket.
And we're just arriving in Haymarket. Lovely, just a few minutes after departing Edinburgh Waverley. Oh, a bit laggy there. It's a bit laggy, so just taking it easy on the brakes as I can. We're going to the end because we're a full 8 car set, which will take up pretty much the entire length of the platform. There we go. And then as trains arrive, you make announcement. So this is
Haymarket.
And then this train is for...
This train is for Glasgow Queen Street.
And then you do the...
The next station is Falkirk High.
There we go, lovely. And as the train departs, you'll do a this train is for, and then this train, the next station is. So what you can do as well, you can, let's have a look. Say it, see it sorted, valid tickets, mind the gap. And then we'll close the doors now. Like I say, the sound mod from Train Sim Community has actually done a really good job. So, we go for this train.
This train is for Glasgow Queen Street. The next station is Falkirk High.
And you could do something like this, see it, say it's sorted.
If you see something that doesn't look right, speak to staff or text the British Transport Police.
And then you can see there,
61816.
position light
We'll
is
sort it.
on, so we'll
See
be
it,
heading over,
say it, sort
because
it.
these are the 5 lines here on the right side as we pass the Haymarket depot. And we'll be crossing over towards the Glasgow main line, Edinburgh Glasgow main line. So we'll just slow down to 25 now. God, those wipers are very loud. Here's something I found interesting as well, that the snow doesn't seem to form on the windscreen here, nor does it on that window, but yet it will form on that window. It's kind of weird. So I'm going to mute for a moment so you can enjoy the sound once we do the acceleration. We're coming up to a neutral section as well. So there you go. This is the, as I say, the sound mod has really improved the quality of this train on just on its own, because, like I say, the default sounds just don't cut it. And as somebody who's travelled on the Class 385s a number of times, you can actually hear the motors quite clearly when travelling on them, especially at the lower speeds. So it's nice that this mod has been able to implement that. And also, well, it's a shame that there wasn't a neutral section simulation there as we were accelerating, because you would have heard the neutral, as it goes over the neutral section, the motors will cut out and then they will start up again. As the 5 circle, or the 5 lines turn off, going towards the Forth River and into the Kingdom of Fife, we are now travelling on the main line towards Falkirk. We're now at 100 mile an hour top speed. And we're just approaching Edinburgh Park. And I'll jump forwards if I can. Oops. I'll jump forward towards Edinburgh Park. On the left side, you've got the retail park. There's actually one of Edinburgh trams there, running on the wrong side actually. And then we've got our train running through Edinburgh Park and kicking up snow as it goes through. So now we're well and truly outside of the Edinburgh city area. And as I say, running this service in the snow and the winter is because the UK has just gone into, or should I say the UK has officially entered the winter, and we've had our first snowfall. Scotland especially had quite a bit, especially in the Highlands. However, it didn't really disrupt train travel massively, which is something that you can really appreciate with Scotland, that they do their best to reduce the possibility of delays during the winter season. Need to slow down for an 80 mph restriction. And this is the junction towards Bathgate. Services from Edinburgh to Helensburgh via the low-level platforms at Glasgow. And I believe it is Glasgow, yeah, it's Glasgow Queen Street. We'll go that way on the left side. I don't think we'll get to see sunlight on this trip today, especially with the snow that we are experiencing. Interestingly, from this viaduct you can actually see the Edinburgh Airport on the right side. If you were a passenger, you can see the approach lights into the runway and also the control tower. These Class 385s have been specifically built for services between Edinburgh and Glasgow, and local electric services from Edinburgh and Glasgow towards Dunblane, well actually I'd say towards Stirling, and alternately you got trains from Edinburgh terminating at Dunblane, and then trains from Glasgow terminating at Alloa, and they'll both go through Stirling. And they use the Class 385s. 385s are also used on the other, what you call the core section, Edinburgh to Glasgow services, including via Schultz, which I've actually done now. Now I've travelled on I've done all of the main Edinburgh to Glasgow services now. And last year I did the Schultz, which they use the Class 385s, the 3-car versions. There's the Glasgow Central to Edinburgh via Motherwell as well. And you've also got the North Berwick services from Edinburgh to North Berwick. That's where these Class 385s are primarily deployed. The 385s were actually delayed on the manufacturing and were delayed to enter service when they were supposed to. So Class 365s from the Great Northern services from Peterborough to London and Cambridge to London were deployed up here. There was a handful deployed up here in Scotland to run services between Edinburgh and Glasgow while they were awaiting for the delivery. And also Class 380s were taken out from local air services to here, to the Glasgow, Edinburgh as well, while the electrification had been complete, but they had no trains to run them. Prior to electrification, the Class 170s reigned supreme on these services actually, but now the 170s have been redeployed and mostly focusing on the Highland services. Say Highland services, the mainline services from Edinburgh and Glasgow to Inverness and Aberdeen. It's interesting as well that I've had the opportunity over the years to see the progression of running as a full diesel main line between Edinburgh and Glasgow, and then the stages in between where they were fixing up or doing the electrification, and then into a full electric railway. These services between Edinburgh and Glasgow via Falkirk High are the quickest of the 4 services that run between Edinburgh and Glasgow. So that's why during the peak hours you'll find 4 trains per hour running these services, and then outside the peak hours you have 2 trains per hour running these so-called express services. And on the side of the train, in fact, I can show you using this view. There is a logo that says Express with the Saltire X of Scotrail. And one of the things I didn't check was if the saloon lighting was on, because it looks like from the outside it might not be on. So our passengers that we just had have been... Oh my gosh, what happened here? No, we want to put the TMS on. What have I done here? Why am I down here? There we go. Yeah, I definitely had the lights off. Anyway, so as I was saying, that I've seen the progression of the electrification process that was on this line over the years. I've been lucky enough to do that on visits to Scotland, and it's been a very interesting move for Scotrail. And they're in the process of figuring out, well, I believe they want to electrify the 5 circle line, but trains like the Class 385s will not be able to travel on them. So they're working out a hybrid system, because they want to run a hybrid system to lower the costs from infrastructure. And I believe one of the main big parts of it is the Forth Bridge, which you saw on a previous video of mine on the 5 circle. Now coming up to Linlithgow, which on a normal off-peak and normal express services, this would be a regular stop or calling point for this train, as the normal stopping pattern would be Haymarket, Linlithgow, Falkirk High. Oh no, wait, I believe they alternate. So some of them will go Linlithgow, Pullman, Falkirk, Glasgow, and then the other alternating service would be, I think it's Linlithgow, Falkirk, Croy, then to Glasgow. Our service, which I found was a very interesting stopping pattern, is basically non-stop till halfway down the line, which is Falkirk High, and then it will be Croy. Is it Croy, then Bishop Briggs? Croy, Lindsay. Oh no, not Croy. So it'd be Lindsay, then Bishop Briggs, and then Glasgow Central, where we're due to arrive at 8:21. I've always found it interesting with this train that they have this CCTV view from the front of the cab available as a cab view, which I found really very, very, very interesting. Shortly on our right hand side you'll see the I believe it's the Bowness Railway, which is a preserved railway line that runs between here and Bowness. There's no railway direct mainline connection here, but you can see the runoff, the line running off there to our right hand side. Interestingly, they have a class 314 on that line, which is a battery powered 314. They even have a Mark III DVT car, which is, I think they're doing some battery testing on that as well. So Bowness Railway really getting involved in the future, even though it's considered a preserved railway line with older trains and preservation. They even have a class 303, if you know what they are, known as the blue trains in Glasgow. They even have one set preserved in there, which I think is fantastic. And the beauty with the class 313 is that they have buffers on the ends of the train, so you can actually just haul them by a normal locomotive. And I don't know if they do that, but that'd be very interesting to know. Be shortly coming through Polmont Station, which is the station just before the turn off towards Falkirk Gravesend and towards Stirling. And for freight services towards Grangemouth, although they'll have to do a reversal if they're coming from this direction. There's a class 185 stopped in, 158 stopped in there. And you can see there the junction turning off to our right hand side. Back up to 100 miles an hour. We're starting to get a nice, beautiful pink hue in the sky as we get closer to 8 o'clock in the morning. So now this section of the line between this junction and the junction just after Falkirk is pretty much exclusively operated by these express Edinburgh to Glasgow services. And Falkirk High, as I say, is exclusively operated by them. However, in this December of 2025, Lumo will start their first Glasgow run services, and they therefore be travelling on this part of the line and also making a stop at Falkirk High, which will make things very interesting for the Glasgow to Edinburgh line coming in the future. And I have also done a previous video talking about when that was announced and actually travelling on this line with this same Sprinter timetable. So now on a 95 mile an hour limit, and we're approaching the tunnel, and straight after the tunnel will be the station of Falkirk High. We're about approximately 0.9 of a mile from our stop, so we'll start thinking about braking. And into the tunnel we go. Now I'll let you listen to the sounds as we slow down. And welcome to Falkirk High. And another train is just arriving on the Edinburgh bound platform. Another 8-car class 385. But it looks like there's been no snow clearance here, so everybody has to walk amongst the snow. That is a lovely poster, isn't it? Welcome to Scotland. I didn't even make the announcement as we approached. But that's alright. I gotta find the button to close the door. No, that's the open door. Close the cab door. Jump back into here. We can make announcement.
Welcome to the Class 385 service to Glasgow Queen Street. The next station is Lenzie.
So we'll just wait a few more seconds and then we'll depart. Normally there's a guard on this train actually, so you would normally hear the buzzes from the guard. Close the doors now. Double check that we have a green signal. And there's our guard. Oh yeah, I should show you the departure on the next station at Lindsay, because the sound of the brakes releasing is actually really cool. We'll do full acceleration and then we can go. This train is for
Glasgow Queen Street. The next station is Lenzie.
And then let's make another announcement like smoking is prohibited.
For your safety and comfort, smoking is prohibited at all stations and on all train services. This includes e-cigarettes.
There we go. So we've got a nice pink hue in the sky, which is something I kind of like about winter time as well. Oh, we ended up leaving like a minute early. That was my mistake. I should have been paying more attention to the time. But that's okay. We might end up on cautionary signals. Neutral section, but I don't think... No, there's no simulation for neutral sections on this line. And now we're coming up to the junction of trains coming from Stirling going towards Edinburgh. So we might get to see some HSTs, we might get to see some Class 170s on this section, as that's how they've timetabled them in this timetable mode. And then there was also a line that came off on the right side, and it will go underneath us in a few minutes. Actually, talking of HSTs, there's one here, but for whatever reason there's no textures on it at all, and for some reason all the carriages are missing. That's really weird. That is very weird. But, you know, when it's not officially supporting the Scotrail Inter-7 City livery, then I'm not surprised that that's the case. Weirdly, on the Train Sim World 5 before the update to 6, it was working perfectly fine, and you could actually see the Scotrail Inter-7 City. And actually, I think on the video that I did, you would have seen one at Glasgow Queen Street on the Lumo video I did. But I think perhaps with Train Sim World 6 just coming out recently, there might be some issues with the texturing of that particular train. And interestingly, I would say the line on here has aged really well, despite being 3 years old. And I actually really did like the line. I was a bit disappointed of the announcement initially that the Edinburgh Glasgow main line was included, because I was thinking, oh my gosh, we've already had that in Train Sim Classic. The Train Sim Classic version, I don't know, it just got boring after some time. But now, with this version, I actually do like it with the Class 385s, and with the sprint timetable it really adds more immersion, which is what I want, you know. It's what I'd like to see in a simulation. It's the whole point of simulation. We want to simulate, and considering this is a line that I have traversed a number of times now over the years, it's something that I really do appreciate as well, seeing the details. And I was very much impressed the first time running on the line, albeit the Class 385 sound wasn't great, but with this mod it works out okay. So we got cautionary signals, so we're going to start preparing to stop, because that means there's a train stopped in Croy, although our train is not stopping there today. So be ready for the next signal to be a single yellow aspect, which it is. And so we'll prepare to stop at the next signal. So it looks like we'll be probably trailing this train. I don't know if this is like an Inverness service that has stopped in Croy and then it's going non-stop to Glasgow, or like a Perth service, a morning Perth service. But it looks like it's already on its way towards Lindsay. Got a double yellow aspect. We'll just play with caution. Say play with caution. We have cautionary aspect. It just cleared to green. So we'll try to get our speed up to at least 85 then. That will give us an 85% of the speed limit, which is currently 100 miles per hour. So if the next signal displays us double yellow, we can know then that we should probably think about slowing down. Should always think ahead of the train as opposed to just reacting when you see. So it's just gone to green, the next signal. So we can probably go up to line speed, and perhaps the next signal will also turn to green. Small passing loops here, which I believe in the past were often used for slower passenger trains to let the Edinburgh Glasgow expresses go through. Nowadays I don't think they're really used much for that, because the trains that are being used, electric trains, actually speed up, slow down very quickly compared to the old diesels, and obviously previous to that the locomotive hauled trains. So we've got 3 miles to run until Lindsay. Another 4 minutes until we stop. So we'll see in a few minutes as well whether or not this train that we are trailing is going to stop there. And judging by the fact that this signal is green, and there are only one more signal ahead of us before they stop at Lindsay, that means the train that was ahead of us has gone straight through Lindsay and is probably doing a non-stop down to Glasgow from Croy. And we're now 1 mile away from our stop. We'll start braking. Actually, I'll get ahead of it so you can listen to the motor stopping sound as well. Oh, we're still quite far ahead. And we'll go stand on the platform over here so we can let the train stop. And take it easy because it's snowing and we're about a minute early.
This is Lindsay. This train is for Glasgow Queen Street. The next station is Bishopbriggs.
Let's go for a little walk, I guess. Again, the snow hasn't been cleared from these platforms, but it's fine. We've pretty much stopped exactly where we're supposed to. S-car mark. And honestly, such a nice looking train. Interior with the hard flooring is quite interesting. The toilets, they're pretty much exactly the same as they are on the Azuma sets, on the Class 800s. But it's a nice layout, 2x2, plenty of luggage space for storage as well. Yeah, it's not too bad. So we're going Bishopbriggs and then Glasgow Queen Street. Another 20 seconds and then we need to depart. So let's jump back into the cab and we'll make our way to Glasgow Queen Street. Remember to close the door on the way out. Actually, what I might do is take a screenshot from here. Let me just get rid of that. Screenshot. There we go. Close the doors. Inspection lights have gone out. You know what, if the train wasn't so laggy, if the video wasn't so laggy during that acceleration and some of those lighting effects were not so messy, you'd probably think that that was a real video clip, isn't it? Of the Class 385 departing from Lindsay. Anyway, I should probably make another announcement. This train is for?
This train is for Glasgow Queen Street. The next station is Bishopbriggs.
Bishopbriggs, next stop. Lovely. Here on the left hand side there is a small depot, which is where the HSTs are normally housed, that run out of Glasgow. So that you normally see HSTs in at Haymarket, at Edinburgh, and then on the Glasgow end here at this depot. Actually, there's one there, just with no paint on it. It's just a plain white one. But that means we'll be shortly into the Greater Glasgow area. In fact, Bishopbriggs itself is within what I would call the city limits of Glasgow. It's well and truly in there as well. Ah, Class 380. There's bi-directional running on this part of the line. That's why you've got opposing signals on the opposite side of the track. Whoops. The braking on this sometimes does hit in a bit too hard. But we're now approaching Bishopbriggs. Let's do...
We'll soon arrive at Bishopbriggs.
I actually wonder if the whole train is in here at Bishopbriggs. Because I know in the past there used to be a 6-car platform. And it kind of still is. 7 carriages was able to fit. The last carriage though isn't. In this case there would be like selective door openings, so that obviously passengers can't just open the doors and end up on the tracks here. I mean, you wouldn't want to fall. What's that? It's almost 4 foot, the drop from the platform. So we're getting into the Glasgow area now. Like well and truly into the Glasgow area.
This is Bishopbriggs. This train is for Glasgow Queen Street. The next station is Glasgow Queen Street.
Okay, interlock light is on. Got 85, down to 70, then down to 50 as we pass the Eastfield depot.
Welcome to the Scotrail service to Glasgow Queen Street. The next station is Glasgow Queen Street.
Then we can do this one as well.
Don't forget to take your belongings with you before you leave the train.
Oh, that one's more for when you arrive, isn't it? We'll do the see it, say it sorted
If you see
thing.
something that doesn't look right, speak to staff or text the British Transport Police on 61016. We'll sort it. See it, say it, sorted.
Anyway, the last 3 miles into Glasgow is mostly, actually it is pretty much all downhill, and especially the section after Eastfield down into the station, it's very, very steep. In fact, one of the steepest approaches into any mainline station. So just around here there's a 50-mile-an-hour limit. We're 50 up to the tunnels and then 30 through the tunnels, and then 20 on the approach to the platforms. So this is Eastfield Depot to our left hand side. Got a little position light there that said down main, DM. It's really only there for those trains going into the loop, or perhaps going even towards that way. Annisland, I believe, is that way. Which I'm surprised, it's still diesel. That line to Annisland, which is very short actually, I think there's only like 5 or 6 stops, but it's still a diesel only line from here. And it surprised me that under the electrification of this line and the Schultz line, that they didn't actually electrify that, you know, at the same time. Because it being so short, it really does surprise me. Now just around this corner we'll be going into the really steep descent. I think it's about 2% decline. 2.2, yeah, there you go, 2.2% in the top left hand corner. So we'll just keep an eye on the speed because it will climb up. And we obviously have to make sure that we don't spad the signals here either. And we need to get down to 30 just as we approach the tunnel, which of course requires a lot of braking power. We're expecting to arrive on platform number 4 today. And just after this signal, 20 mile an hour, so we'll keep the braking so we don't, you know, otherwise we're going to gain momentum as we release the brakes, and that wouldn't be a good idea now, would it? There's our 20 mile an hour board. Got a single yellow aspect, next signal. That means we'll be brought straight into the platform. And the indicator box is saying 4.
We'll soon arrive at Glasgow Queen Street. Don't forget to take your belongings with you before you leave the train.
Now that was a very appropriate announcement, wasn't it? It's a shame there isn't one on there that says this train terminates here. But that would have been my next announcement. This train terminates here. We're holding the brakes and we're still doing 18 miles per hour. And as we exit the tunnel, it will level out. There it is, it's starting to level out now. And the train station is pretty empty. There's only a 170 sitting there in platform 3. Is it platform 3? Yeah, platform 3. There we go. We'll open the doors, set the DRA. We'll put the reverser into off. We can turn that off now, and we'll check that our lights are in tail mode. Continue, and then we'll resume into... Okay, so it's just an off position. We'll get out on this side, and then we'll close off the video. Check that the tail lights are on. Tail lights are on. And we can close the door now. And there we go. The class 385. I thought I'd have a look back, especially as the winter season has just sort of arrived in the UK. So a lovely winter trip from Edinburgh to Glasgow on a commuter run. It's 8:20, so perfectly timed for those starting at 9 o'clock in the offices. And as I say, the class 385 from Train Sim World number 3. We've got a class 170 sitting in the platform 2, bound for Aberdeen, currently out of service, but will be departing in 20 minutes. So anyway, I'll close it off by looking at the new station entrance, which is actually very beautiful, and I've been here recently, and it's nice to see. The depiction is very nice. The entrance to the lower level platforms 8 and 9 to our left hand side. And we will conclude here by saying thank you for joining me. I hope there was a nice little cab ride with different variations of views for the train. And I hope you actually enjoyed it in this winter, the start of the winter season. And I hope that you join me on another video soon. Thank you once again for joining me on this video, and we'll see you on another one. Goodbye.